everyone, this is Misti-Dawn with the Manamal Streaming Radio, talking to the lead singer of the band Impulsive, Shane. Thanks so much for joining me today, Shane. Can you start us telling us your names of the people in the band and what their role is?
Sure. Starting off myself, I'm Shane. I'm the rhythm guitarist and one of two lead singers. We also have Jake McDermott. He's the other lead singer, and also he does a little bit of rhythm guitar as well. Then going down the line, we got Aaron Rowe on the drums. Jake Lohr, we got two Jakes. So Jake Lohr, he's on lead guitar and he does some backup vocals live. And then Chris McCandless, or McCandless, he can go either way, but he's on the bass.
Awesome. Now, how did you guys all meet? Was there instant chemistry when you all were together as one?
I'd say it's been a long process. Me and Jake have been playing together since I think 2011. Kind of just met at an open mic kind of night with a couple of buddies that I used to play with, and we just kind of just figured out our own way from there and had a few member changes. But as far as the band now goes, I think in 2014 we added Aaron, our drummer. He's been our drummer ever since, actually 2013. And then Chris came on bass last year, Jake Lohr, I'd say about 2016. I think we've finally found our groove with the lineup that we have now, and everything clicks really well. There's no odd egos. Everyone gels perfectly. It's not a burden. It's not a job. It's actually something we enjoy and we want to pursue as a career. And everything's working really well as it is right now.
That's great. I'm happy for you guys. You guys are pretty awesome, I have to say. Can you share some of your musical influences with us?
Oh yeah, each member is going to tell you something pretty different. As far as the band's concerned, we kind of see everyone's got their own opinions on what we sound like. In our minds, I think we kind of all agree we like and are influenced by, and we also sound a similar way to Breaking Benjamin and Papa Roach and that kind of active rock sound. Mm-hmm. But as far as me personally, influence-wise, I don't listen to too much metal. I do like metal, but I like a lot of rock, and I like a lot of alternative and pop rock. So I like anywhere from Metallica to Blink-182, but I'm also very influenced by AFI, Paramore, Angels and Airwaves, a bunch of different stuff like that. And I know Jake, our lead singer, he's really into 3 Days Grace. I know Adam Gontier is a huge influence of his, and Papa Roach, he's really started doing that.
That's awesome. Great role models there too, because I love them all. Now, do any of you come from musical families?
Yes. As far as me, I can't confirm, but I have some Carters in the family, and they think I might be related to June Carter. That's kind of cool. But our bass player, Chris, I believe he's second cousins with Tim Mahoney, who's the guitar player for 311. So that's cool. They're
wow.
all, most of the band's from Omaha, so it's all like a big family in Omaha. So there's that.
Right. Now, being from Omaha, what's the music scene like there?
It's very, very, very diverse. The rock scene is like a huge family. From what we're concerned with, there's really there's no competition, no ego. Everyone gets along. Everyone's, friends with each other. There's no band that thinks they're up here and everyone else is down there. You're going to have bands that are more successful than others, but the people in those bands, they're always just friendly. It's always a really good vibe. You go out to any concert, you're going to see familiar faces. It's very, very cool. But there's a lot of indie acts, there's a lot of country acts. I'm not too familiar with any of the people in that scene, but I know there's plenty of any kind of music you can think of in Omaha. It's all there.
It's not what you normally would think of when you think of Omaha, so that's very interesting, that you said that.
Oh yeah, and of course, if you get deep into Nebraska, you think you get the cliche, cornfields and all that kind of stuff. But Omaha's a pretty big city. It's I think it's in the top 70 of biggest cities in the country. So it's pretty big. It's decent. It's not cornfields. It's a lot of buildings, a lot of newer, modern stuff. So.
Now let's talk about your first professional album before we get into the new EP. That title is Battle Worn, and the first song I listened to was Bury Me, and I loved that song from the second it started until the very end. And awesome. I definitely can hear Breaking Benjamin and a little bit of Linkin Park in there for sure.
Great.
Now, how long did it take to complete this album?
That album, man, we released I wouldn't say a professional release before that, but we had a local CD that didn't quite turn out the way it should have before that. And that was before we kind of had the sound we have now. So, and that was in 2014. So I'd say from 2014 to 2016, we were kind of right here and there. So I'd say that one maybe took about 1.5 to 2 years of kind of passive-aggressive writing. With that one, we were kind of unprepared, I would say. We didn't have demos figured out. We had kind of little demos figured out, but a lot of the writing was just kind of, all right, let's practice it and see how it goes. We didn't hear it on any kind of record before we went into the studio to record it professionally. So with this one, that one was kind of like a learning experience. And with this one, we took a lot of time writing each song, each part, recording it into my computer, listening to it on a demo track to make sure it's where we want it to be before we go into the studio. So I think the first one, I'd say it took about a year and a half, but I think we were far more prepared for this new one.
And who does the songwriting, and what is your songwriting process?
For the first album, Battle Worn, we kind of went from at first, I would write a song, Jake would write a song. It would pretty much be 90% written. We'd bring it to the band, and then we'd all learn our parts, and that'd be kind of it. He would sing his songs, I would sing my songs, but obviously it's going to be a lot better when you collaborate together. So Battle Worn was the beginning of the kind of more collaborating together. Well, I'm good at talking sometimes, but yeah, we started collaborating more on Battle Worn. And let's see, Jake wrote 3 of the songs, I wrote 2, and our former lead guitarist, Matt McClure, he wrote Green Eyes, which is one of the tracks off of Battle Worn. But now on this EP with Lost, I technically wrote the bass of 3 songs, Jake wrote the bass of 1, and Aaron actually wrote the instrumental for Ghost. But, however, every single song was a huge collaboration of all of us. Say, I would sing one verse and think of it all myself. Jake would sing one verse, think of it all himself, and it would be on. It doesn't matter if it's the song I wrote or the song he wrote. If you come with an idea and it fits the song, we're going to work with it. We're going to let everyone have their chance to shine. If lead guitar thinks of some lyrics or a melody that's kind of cool, we'll obviously be open to it and we'll give it a whirl. So I think this new EP was a very, very a big collaboration between all 5 of us instead of just kind of, we write a song, let's learn it real quick. It was very thought out.
Now, do most of your songs on that album come from personal experience, or do you write about things you see in the world, and how does that go for you?
As far as this new EP, I'd say all the songs are very let's go this way. 3 of the songs are very personal songs, and then Fallen Angels, our lead single, is kind of our views on the world, how crazy it's kind of getting, how crazy you turn on the TV and there's always violence, there's always division, but then you go out and actually just talk to people in real life and realize we're kind of all the same. Maybe things aren't that bad if you actually just talk to someone. You realize we have a lot in common, and you could actually realize there's a lot of good things going on in the world, not just this craziness that the media wants us to see. And then there's Heart So Cold, which is about a very personal experience, and then deserving a second chance, messing up and deserving a second chance. Ghost, we all have our mental issues in the band. Everyone goes through their own battles mentally. It's all about anxiety, going through the roller coaster of that. And then Lost is about our friend Forrest Corrigan. He actually auditioned to be our drummer right before Aaron did. And we didn't end up going with him, but we still remained friends. We're all very close. We went down and played in San Antonio, and Forrest let us stay at his house for 2 nights, took us to the Riverwalk down there. It was a really, really cool experience. Paid for the whole thing, actually, for us to go down to the Riverwalk. And Forrest committed suicide in November of 2016, I believe. So we wrote Lost as a tribute to him. We wanted to show his parents that song and let them know that, we're still thinking about you. We want you to know you don't have to cope with this alone. So we wrote the song, and before we got the chance to play the song and send the song to them, they were actually shot in the church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, the First Baptist Church. If you remember hearing that on the news, the active shooter came in and shot. I can't remember the number of people that were shot, but Forrest's parents, Robert and Shane, were one of those.
Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry for your loss. That's wow.
That was tough for sure.
But music has helped you heal in a sense, because you were able to put that out there about him, and that's kudos.
Appreciate that.
Now, I read somewhere, and I forgot to cite this, so I'll probably get in trouble for that, but you had received a couple nominations for awards, and they were in 2015 and 2016?
Oh yeah, I think 2015 we got nominated for. I'd have to be looking at our credentials to be 100% sure, but it was for the Omaha Arts and Entertainment Awards. I believe it was for best hard rock or rock or metal. One of those. They have 3 different categories for our sound. We kind of fit in all of them. But and then in 2016, we played up in Sioux City quite a bit in that time frame, so we got nominated for best Omaha band that played in Sioux City.
That's awesome. And how does that make you feel when somebody, you haven't been out for very long? Is that correct? 2014, I read.
Yeah. Okay. We haven't been playing really out of town until about 2014, 2016, and this year we're going to be a lot more active. Actually, we're announcing a tour today, and we're going to go about 8 different states, 10 different shows. So we're branching out, but it feels really good knowing that we can play out of town. People are very receptive to it, and they're willing to nominate us for something like that.
That's great. Now you're under Curtain Call Records, and they have some really awesome bands out. How did that all come about? Did you approach them, or was it vice versa?
Actually, Jesse Saint, he is the rhythm guitarist for a band named Gods, who actually is under their management team as well for Curtain Call. He's a talent scout, he's a rep for Curtain Call, and before Gods became a thing, me and Jake auditioned to be in Gods I was going to do kind of like what we did in Impulsive. It's kind of the same thing, co-lead vocals and then some rhythm guitars. But it's kind of hard to balance 2 different bands, especially when we're in Omaha and they're down in Kansas City. To balance that was kind of a challenge. So they ended up going with someone else. But we're still obviously friends with Jesse. He's a great guy. So we hit him up, and he said he was actually the first band he wanted to contact about Curtain Call Records. So we just kind of got the ball rolling. And at that time, we had another management company who closed their doors on us before fulfilling everything that they promised to do for us. So we were kind of like, great, what do we do? And then Curtain Call kind of happened to come in right in time to where we needed somebody to fulfill that management role, and it all worked out.
That's great. I really enjoy working with them and the bands under their label. So you've got a good label there for sure.
Oh, absolutely. We didn't know any besides Jesse. We didn't know anybody at Curtain Call before that, but it's been great working with them so far. Great people, no egos, so far.
Right.
Straight up, they help us out a lot.
Now, regarding the EP Lost, who produced and mixed this album?
Actually, both Battleborn and Lost were recorded, mixed, and mastered by Jeremy Schaefer with All Poetic Audio. Jeremy's also in an awesome band. They're really heavy, really heavy. They're called Earth Drums. They're with Solid State Records, so he's doing really good for himself. He's able to tour on his own, and then he comes back and records bands at All Poetic Audio, and that's where we did both these. But I'd say for this newer EP, we were more confident in the sound that we wanted and the tones in the guitar that we wanted, the tones in the vocals. We came prepared with, telling him what we want instead of just kind of figuring out on a whim. We knew exactly what we wanted going in.
Now, if you had to choose any song that you guys have put out, whether it would be the old album or this EP, which of those songs would you think captures the essence of your band?
We've got so many different sounds that I think you could probably pick any single song off the album, either album, and kind of know exactly who are. I'd say more so this new album. The old album has a lot more us figuring out who we are. I'd say Fade and Bury Me are pretty up to par with what we are now, but other than that, the songs on the other album might have been us figuring ourselves out. I'd say this new album, I really think you can listen to any single song and know exactly who the Impulsive is. You're going to hear, each song sounds unique, absolutely. I don't think any 2 songs sound the same, but all the influences are still there. You can tell which, style each person is bringing to the table. I think from the last album, Fade was definitely the most, successful song, and everyone kind of responded really well to that. This one so far, it's been Fallen Angels, but it's been pretty even across the board.
I enjoy all of those songs on that EP, but Heart So Cold is my favorite, and I think why it's because you have a very Chester Bennington sound going on, and of course I'm a huge Linkin Park fan, so for me, even though I like them all, this one hit me like real hard. But now, how do you think you've grown from entering the scene up until this point with your new EP?
there's a lot of ways I'd say we've grown. For myself, speaking for myself, and I guess for Jake as well, is I think our vocal approach has improved quite a bit. Our vocal delivery, like, because we were mediocre singers, I'd say, but we didn't know how to take care of our throats. And that's a huge thing before going into this new EP. So I think we both really focused on learning how to improve our vocals and sing safer. And I know it's funny they bring up Linkin Park and Chester, because like I've always loved Linkin Park. They're honestly one of my favorite bands, but I haven't really studied, how Chester sings, how he does his thing, until maybe about a year before he passed. I started really focusing on it, and my gosh, the stuff that he can do that I couldn't do made me realize I can better, get a kick in the butt and get my ass going in gear and learn how to do all that stuff, because there's so much more I can be doing. I can be doing so much better things. So I started focusing and learning how Chester does his stuff. I'm starting to slowly learn how to scream. I don't scream if Jake does all the screaming. I'm starting to learn that. Starting to learn how to sing safer so I can, last longer during live and sound better on record. And I think everyone just really practiced, did their homework at home.
Well, you accomplished, the Chester sound for sure. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, are there any upcoming shows you might be able to fill us in on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're announcing it. I haven't announced it as of now. I don't know if you're posting this interview right now or not, but either way, we're announcing a tour today.
Okay.
And going to 8 states, and it's going to be 10 shows. So we got Iowa City. First off, we got October 10th. It's going to be in Des Moines, Iowa at Games. No, man, I should have a sheet in front of me. It would make life so much easier. No,
Okay.
It'll be October 10th in Des Moines at Gaslamp. That's what it is. And then Iowa City the next day in Games. And then they go up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then from there, I believe it's Maple Heights, Memphis, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, Lawrence, Kansas, Oklahoma City.
Wow.
And I think that's about it for the tour. And I know October 6th, we're also hitting a festival called Oktoberfest in Ayala, Kansas.
And you need to get a little closer to the East Coast. I need a Pennsylvania show or two.
I meant to the phone. I'm like, I'm sorry. I know. So you're out in Pennsylvania. We'll try to make it there as soon as we can.
That'd be great.
Cool. Yeah.
Now, what has been your biggest challenge as the band?
Biggest challenge. I would say getting into a groove where we all enjoy it. Like I'd say before this past year, before we actually recorded Lost, I think we were still in that phase of, making sure all the personalities mix well, getting our performance live to where it needed to be, and just being happy in the band. I don't think our live performance before 2017 was up to par with where I would want it to be. I don't think my vocal performance was up there where I want it to be. I don't think our songwriting was quite where I want it to be. So, in the personalities, we're still friends with all the people who were in the band in the past, but until we start really clicking in 2017 and really focusing on what we need to improve on and just getting the right pieces in place, I think that was our biggest struggle. And I think now that we have all the members that make sense, our friends, we're all click very well. Everyone's good at their instruments. We can sound, really good live, put on a great show, and write great songs. I think now getting all the right pieces in place is our biggest struggle.
Now, other than social media, do you have any other ways that you're promoting? Because I know it's got to be rough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, social media is obviously huge because especially when you're going to new cities and stuff like that, you want to try to introduce yourself at least to social media before you even play there, because if you're just going to play a show, no one's going to notice you. So you got to try to find the right people to add on social media, find the right people to follow. That way you can start kind of making your presence known before you even get there. But we got to do the groundwork too. We got to print out the posters, send it to the local bands that are playing out there and with us at the news out of town. Send them some posters and flyers to put up out of town and just do all the legwork, all the hard work. It might be old-fashioned, but it still has to be done.
Right. I know some bands aren't successful. I've spoke to several that say social media has not been kind to them, but I mean, without having something like MTV that promotes, that's got to be very difficult. So I'm glad that that's working in your favor.
Oh yeah, it all depends. Like social media is kind of hit or miss. Facebook's always changing their algorithms to where less and less people are seeing it. So you could either pay X amount of dollars per post, but is it really cost efficient to do that? I wouldn't say so.
Right.
So it's really tough. There's so many different ways to go about it, and there's the fine line. There's some bands I've seen out there that do the direct social marketing where they'll message you every single time they're coming, which is fine if you know them, but the one band in particular I'm thinking of, they do it all the time. And lots of people know who they are, and they all get annoyed by it. So you don't want to go past that line where you're annoying people. You want to you got to be just right,
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, who are some of the newer bands that you listen to?
Man, I think a very common one is Nothing More. Those guys are writing original music. Like, it's nothing like stock. It's like all original. It's all really unique. It's all really cool. And they can bring it live. I haven't seen them live, but I'm a big YouTuber at work. I watch live videos on YouTube. Nothing More is really good. I did dig, since I'm a big AFI fan, man, I can't remember the name. He did a side project with No Doubt. That was pretty cool. That was interesting. But as far as new bands, man, Bad Wolves, a little heavier than what I'm used to, but I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it. But man, Nothing More is really the one that's kind of been popping out to me.
Okay. Now, what's been your greatest advice regarding the music scene?
It's a long list of stuff. We're still figuring everything out ourselves. We're rather young, especially on like the touring thing. We've done a couple smaller ones. This is the biggest one we've done. There's, like I said, 8 states, 10 shows. My biggest advice is to just keep pushing at it. Like there was a lot of times in the past couple of years where we would talk about wanting to go out of town. Talking about it, and then nothing would ever happen. You're just expecting it to happen, but nothing ever happens for you. You have to do it yourself. You have to go out and book the show yourself. And you can pay a company to help it, but you got to find that company to help you. It's not just going to land on your doorstep, You have to go out there and chase it. Like for this upcoming tour we're doing, we had a company that was booking the tour, but they closed their doors before they got it finished, so we had to do the rest ourselves. We had to do all the hard work, You can't just expect things to happen. Don't be lazy. That guilty, absolutely guilty. Just don't be lazy. Keep working, And another thing is, for me, I've learned just not to care so much. Like if things don't work out, it's just you learn. You don't got to be all bummed out about it. You don't got to stress yourself out. I used to be so anxious at shows. It's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be flawless. I'm still that way about records. Like if it's on record, like a new song or something, on a new record. I will be perfectionist there, but everywhere else, I'm learning just to not care as much, and I'm really realizing I can enjoy things more if I'm not such a perfectionist on things.
Right. Now, would that be the advice you would give an up-and-coming band to just, keep going and pick yourself up when you fail? And
Oh yeah. I mean, of course, like I said, we're absolutely still learning, so I wish there was better advice I could give, but we're still figuring out for ourselves. But just don't be lazy. And don't take yourself so seriously. Take your art seriously, but don't take yourself so seriously. Because there's so many people out there that just don't care that you're in a band. So if, you play a show and no one shows up, it might suck, but just learn that it happens. Right. You're going to, a month or two later, have a show that's almost sold out. It just happens. You got to really find out why you're in music. Are you in music because you want to be a rock star? Are you in music because it makes you happy and it makes you feel fulfilled?
Right. That's sound advice, and not just for the music business, for anybody in general. So I agree 100%. Now, where can people buy your music now?
It's really everywhere. I mean, Spotify is a big one for streaming, but as far as buying, I know Amazon and Apple, all that stuff, it's going to be on there. All the major outlets. I wish we could say we had physical copies at Best Buy and stuff, but that's going out the door. They don't do physical much anymore, and plus we're not quite at that level. It would be cool, though. But, it's mostly digital. But you can also go to our website if you want a physical copy, theimpulsiveofficial.com. You can get all of our merch, our T-shirts, wristbands, hats. It's all up there. And our physical copies of our albums are up there, too.
Fantastic. Now, is there anything else you'd like to say to your fans and our listeners that we might not have covered today?
No questions. I just hope to see some new fans. We're reaching, a bunch of new markets in October when we're going on that tour. So I hope to see a bunch of new fans out there and familiar faces that I know there's a couple of people that used to live in Omaha that kind of moved out of town. We're kind of going closer to them. So it'll be good to see those guys again. And I just want to say thank you, Misty, and thank you everybody who's playing, the Impulsive on your digital radio stations. We really appreciate it.
We really like your music, so we're going to keep going with that for sure. And I really wanted to thank you so much, Shane, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to chat with me today. It has truly been a pleasure. Now, to everyone listening, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Sometimes there's a little lull in there.
Sure, no, you didn't cut me off at all.
Okay. To everyone out there listening, please check out the Impulsive new EP, Lost. This is Misti-Dawn with the Manamal Streaming Radio. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you.